Cut the Check podcast, brought to you by Craft Farmer, bringing you weekly motivation, unmatched cultivation tech, and telling you some badass war stories along the way. It took me a long time to get to that place where I embraced the problem. And that's what we need to do. We need to embrace anything happening to us. Like anything that happens to us, we're in the fight. Good, bad, things that affect us that aren't even supposed to affect us, guilty by association. You always have to maintain a level head. When someone comes at you with some bullshit, accusing you, threatening you, the moment you lose that power of being in control, you never know what's going to happen. Being in control is so important in everything, because when you're in control and you're addressed with an issue, a situation, a problem, anything like that, if you can be in your most powerful place when you deal with these things, then you're going to have much better control. And so for the longest time, I would always get exposed. I would get taken out of my control place, like, oh man, you're kidding me. Like, why am I dealing with this? Why did that happen? Oh, the neighbor did what? What do you mean? And so finally, I don't know exactly what it was. Was it age? Was it experience? But I feel like that really hindered me for a very long time personally. And now when something happens, I'm just like, I'm dull to it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't take me out of their element. When I'm working with some people and, your employees are hitting you up or partners and stuff's happening and they're like all worked up. Like I don't come from that place anymore. And I try to tell everybody like, look, you don't need to come from that place either. When you come from that place, you often overlook the most important things. When anything happens now, dehumidifier, AC, irrigation, pumps, doser, whatever it is, I just immediately can address the situation because I'm so in tune with everything that's going on. And one of the most important things I always tell people when they're working for me or I'm helping hire for someone else or anything like that is over experience. I want something like awareness. I want to know that somebody is aware of every single thing happening around them. They don't easily overlook things. They don't leave shit on the floor when they see it, so finding awareness. And that's awareness in you also. We have to be aware of every single element, making sure not one thing is out of place. Like the awareness, if you can practice something, I would definitely say practicing awareness, because the majority of problems can be solved relatively quickly. Things are always where they need to be, always operating the way that they need to be. Awareness, like I think about awareness so much that I go into places and I go into situations and everything, and I try to be so aware than everyone else around me. Who going into a room, who's in this room, what type of people are here, how are they acting? My grow, man, I can walk into my room and notice one thing out of place. Boom, plant 284 is getting less water than the rest of those. That must be a clogged dripper. Like I'm so in tune with everything. And if you can practice awareness, I feel like awareness is one of the most undervalued traits that you can have. And especially when I'm hiring people, when I'm teaching people, I'm paying attention to how much awareness that they have, what they're capable of. And it's something I really want to have with everybody on my team is awareness, looking around. Why is something not working? Identifying the process, identifying if it's anything basic before, kind of creating a more panicked situation. I'm always trying to tell everybody like, man, if you can be more aware, if you can practice your awareness. Like there's so many things through basic everyday life that I'm going through that I'm aware of, that I can see people doing. That person didn't put, the broom back when they took it. This person just dropped that off over there. These tools aren't returned. I see these people doing all these things. All these things are happening because they are unaware. Their awareness switch is turned off. They're not even thinking about that, because when you bring it to their attention, they're like, oh shit, yeah, man, you're right. Well, why do I have to be right over basic shit like this? Like, how do I get you to see this? How do we turn your awareness switch on? Once you're aware and you can problem solve and you can see why things aren't working, you can see things right away, that's when you're going to go into your gray state and solve those problems, solve those situations, solve anything. When you come from grace, just your communication alone is on another level. You don't get triggered easily. I don't want to get triggered anymore. It's not productive. If somebody's saying things that are hurting my feelings, or making fun of me, or I'm part of a meme, why does that even trigger me? Why am I being triggered internally for that? It's something I've got going on. If I think about something before it's triggered, like everything in my life is great. My relationships are great. My productivity is great. My material is good. I've got pure intentions. I'm helping people. There's no reason for me to be triggered by anything. There's nothing that someone else can say that triggers me. So, that comes back to awareness, like being aware that I'm not going to allow myself to be triggered. So, grace, awareness, problem solving, man, things just are so much more productive when you're coming from a place of grace and understanding and awareness. And so what I'm challenging everyone else to do now in their life, in their jobs, with everything that you're doing, everything that you have going on, I'm challenging you to hold yourself accountable for these things even more than you normally would or that you used to. Really challenge yourself to be awareness. And when you're saying that, I'm saying it all throughout the day in my mind. You need to be aware. You need to be aware. And I'm looking around. Okay, is there anything out of place? Am I leaving anything that shouldn't? The most issues I ever see are at facilities where shut-off valves are turned off for whatever reason. Filters are getting cleaned, stuff like that, and not turning them back on. Things like that. The awareness that, and I've been just as guilty of it, the awareness that you're shutting something off, you're unplugging something, you're turning off your system to do whatever kind of maintenance or check you have, and then turning everything back on again. Being aware, your awareness on how you're acting, how you're talking to people, how you treat people around you. There's no reason to be tough and, like have that attitude. I feel like it's just unnecessary, all these things lead into grace. And grace is when you're doing any kind of act. Grace is when you're cutting clones. Grace is when you're cleaning, when you're cleaning your tools. Grace is doing jobs a graceful way, not aggressive, not fast, trying to get in and get out. You owe yourself the respect, your team the respect, and people employing you the respect to do a job as good as you can do it. Not rush it, not take the easy way out. A lot of times with these jobs, the only person who knows that we're cutting corners or we're slacking is ourselves, unless you so don't care that it's obvious. But for the most part, you need to hold yourself accountable for getting the job done, for doing it nicely, for doing it gracefully, for being aware, putting your things back, so on. So I challenge you to hold yourself accountable for all of these things. Hold yourself accountable for being graceful. Hold yourself accountable for being aware. all that it's going to do is bring greater value into your life. You're going to see better results. You're going to have a higher, more well-being. You're just going to be stronger mentally overall. You're going to be a stronger person. You're going to have a stronger mindset. And the jobs that you do are better than what you used to do or who you are now. And everybody notices that. The world notices that. You know, the world is like, damn, man, Kraft is like killing it. You know, he helps everybody. He's helped me personally. This is my experience with him. You know, I want to hold myself accountable to give the most value to every single person spending $1 with me. Whatever you're spending that dollar on, you know, if I can help you answer questions, like I want to hold myself accountable to be the best that I can to other people, how I show up, you know, everyone's experience with me. I want it to be very good. You know, obviously not everyone's going to have a great experience. If we're on different teams, you might have a different experience that, you know, with me than you would as if you're coming from a neutral place. But regardless, I want to hold myself accountable. I want to be a good person. I want to help everybody. And so that starts with me getting up every day and being like, okay, no matter what you have going on, what you're thinking about, you need to tap the fuck in with whoever is on the schedule today to help with whatever project you have. Michigan, you know, partnering with Mark, like I have a certain standard I want to hold myself to my other partners in that project, and know that, you know, they're always going to have someone consistent and aware and graceful in whatever I'm doing or what I'm asking for. With that being said, in reaching that level of grace and awareness, I also don't have any fear or any preconditions of wondering how someone's going to feel. I'm being honest with myself. I come from a graceful place. I come from a place of awareness. This is how you're showing up to me. This is how I see the work being done. I'm not afraid to tell anybody what I think or tell somebody yes or no. You know, Lance, can I come borrow your tools? I just got to do this. No, you know, and no, because I want those same fucking tools there right when I need them. I don't ever want an issue. If my drill stops working for me 2 times after you borrowed it, it's just I'm very aware of where I am and my feelings and respecting myself, with that being said, you know, so it always starts with you. And once you're in this place and you know you're there, you can tell anyone anything that you're feeling. You can ask for anything. You can say no. You don't ever have to feel any type of way about anything. If it's on your mind and you're in this right place, you can do it. You can say it. You can ask it. So going back to what I was saying is anytime I see anything or I have something to say to somebody who works for me or a manager or a partner, anything, since I come from this place of grace and from awareness and understanding, I have no worry about saying anything I have to say or bringing anything to their attention or asking for anything. You know, a lot of times, you know, when I was younger, I'm like, oh man, what are they going to think? Like, oh, I don't want to ask for this. And all I'm doing is giving myself the short end of the stick. I'm not following my true intention. I'm not following my truth. And so starting with awareness and then grace and all these things that I've really worked on has brought me to a great place through business, through personal relationships, through employee relationships, that kind of thing. You know, another thing is being graceful in receiving what is being said to you. Like anytime, like I have a partner who is saying, hey, Lance, I need this, or anything that comes up, I want to be graceful in receiving this. What am I doing to have this person feeling this way, or they're sharing this with me because for some reason that they need to. So instead of just being in a denial place or a no or protective, I want to be graceful in having these conversations and having people come to me with this information. I always want to be able to, I don't want to ever shut that person down or not allow them to be truthful. And a lot of times people in general, based on their past experiences, maybe someone gets shut down and then they don't bring it up to you again because you always come from kind of this negative or aggressive or defending point of view. People just get to the point where they're like, fuck it, I'm not going to fuck with him, and you don't want that to happen. This is an easy thing for everyone to do, everyone to just be aware of it. You know what I mean? Aware of those feelings, aware of your actions, your thoughts, sharing those things, and keeping the communication open, holding yourself to a higher standard. And then a lot of things start happening and a lot of things start, moving differently. And then when all these things are happening and then you're dealing with issues or problems or things failing or timelines not working out, and you can deal with them from a graceful place, you have a much different experience with the world around you, with people, things like that. So now when something fails, mindset is immediately, okay, what do we need to do right now? Does anything have to be band-aided temporarily, or does something need to be picked up? Do we need to go to a rental store? Do we need to, whatever it is, whatever the problem is, and not just getting frustrated and angry and pissed off on the phone with a tech, and your anger's coming into that conversation. It just doesn't ever get you anywhere. So being able to have this balance and, okay, my and dehumidifier failed. What do I need to do? I need to get my multimeter. I need to get my tools. I need to check power, check the basic things. Okay, that's not working. I need to get tech support on the phone, and I'm ready to receive their information, receive their aid, and troubleshoot this unit. I'm also going to the rental store. I'm getting the however many dehumidifiers I need in the short term. I'm renting them. I'm putting them in place. Like, I'm doing all these things, and I'm not getting into a negative place of why me, or why is this happening, or fuck, this is lame, and anger, and it just doesn't work. It's bad programmed reactions. And everything in our mind and our brain is like programmed. We program this. So whatever you're programmed for, you can be unprogrammed and reprogrammed if you're willing to put enough time in, if you're willing to create a habit, to fix it. Bad habit, you're programming yourself to a negative way. Being frustrated, angry when things don't work, we're almost like pre-programmed for that. You want to just default to this place of like anger or frustration or why, like it's weird. It's like programmed in our DNA. It's almost like, why do majority of humans like fighting, boxing, MMA, gladiator, Vikings, killing? It's programmed in our mind. And I don't even understand why it's programmed that way, but it could be just from the very, very beginning of all time. It's survive, survival of the fittest. The low fruit die. The low fruit get picked. Look at Mother Nature. It's the same way. Plants that aren't as strong or other ones have a less chance of surviving. Same thing with animals. Some animals get picked off and eaten by other animals, and this and that, and maybe that's just programmed in our DNA from the very, very beginning. But I truly believe that you can reprogram yourself. Like, I've reprogrammed myself. Like, I came from a place of frustration and this isn't working, and anger, and dealt with a lot of that kind of stuff growing up, and so it's pre-programmed into my adult brain. My whole childhood of that stuff. So now it has to be dissected, removed, reprocessed, re-downloaded, and then living life like that. So a lot of just self-mental work. It's like going back to a podcast, one of the first podcasts I did about, your mind and how strong your brain is, and you can achieve whatever you want with a strong mindset. Well, you also use that same mindset to delete, reprogram, re-download, shift, and start living your life a different way, a more productive way. And man, I don't read, I don't read books. There's all kinds of shit about this out there, but for me, I've just learned this and picked this up through my life and seeing what works and what doesn't, and what works really well and what gets you the farthest. And it's being in control. And when you're angry, you're losing control. When you're frustrated and you're lashing out, that's all, you're out of control. You have no control in those moments. You're not in control of yourself, or you wouldn't be acting like that. If we had control over anything, we should never have to act like that. And so that's losing control. I want to be in control. I want to work on being in control. I want to work on maintaining control. Thank you to our sponsor, Grow Generation, your one-stop shop for all your cultivation and gardening supplies. Grow Generation has everything you need under one roof. They also have a full commercial cultivation team that can make sure you have all the supplies you need to keep your gardens firing on all cylinders. Check out Grow Generation to find your closest retailer, or reach out to Grow Generation on Instagram. Grow Generation, where the pros go to grow. I'm almost at this point now, I'm fucking ready for problems. I'm ready for any problem that can happen, that can come my way. It's a test. I welcome problems. I welcome problems with equipment. I welcome problems with systems. I welcome problems with logistics. I don't want to be in a perfect world, a perfect situation. Everything's perfect all the time. That's boring. I want to be tested. I want to test my skills and test my new software and make sure I don't have to make any tweaks and adjustments, and test my mind, and would this be a kit that works? Would someone like this kit? That kind of thing. That's the kind of shit I'm thinking of. So I welcome problems, and not only that, just how quickly I can figure out how this gets fixed, what we do. Everybody comes to me. I remember when I used to do car audio at Custom Car Audio, started in sales, then I wanted to be an installer, started taking cars apart and running wires and building systems and, fabricating and, all this exciting things. And man, every time I couldn't figure something out, I remember I went to Scott Babson, who was one of the owners of the company, and he ran the entire, installation, and he was the go-to guy out there, and so anytime something wouldn't work out or I couldn't figure something out, it wasn't going back together, it wasn't coming apart, I could go to Scott. Scott had all the answers. Scott always had all the answers. And I remember thinking to myself, man, someday Scott's not going to be here. What the fuck am I going to do? Man, I go to Scott for everything. What am I going to do when Scott's not there? And now looking back at that, and I look in my life, I'm the one that everybody comes to. I'm the problem. So, Lance, this isn't working, or, oh man, this happened, or this is an issue. The logistics of that, everyone's coming to me. My team's coming to me. And I always have the answers. I'm now the Scott Babson, the person I never thought I could be. But I welcome all problems and situations and issues. And the majority of the time, once I get those problems, or somebody comes to me and shows me something that isn't working, or this or that, and once I show them or walk them through it, they're like, oh man, yeah, I could have done that. Oh, how did I not see that was unplugged? Oh, that fell and I didn't notice it. Awareness. Once you start focusing on your awareness and thinking about things instead of taking the easy way out. I see so many people taking the easy way out. Oh, let me call my boss or my supervisor. Or, yeah, let's just not do that until we're showed how. Or, ask how to do something in the beginning of the day when you're giving the task so you can make sure that you do it right. You're not taking the easy way out where you're like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Let me go ask. Like think about that for a second. The RO stopped working before just calling a supervisor or going and getting someone out of town or panicked and like, what the fuck, man, everything's failing. Like, look around. Why is it not working? Is it getting pressure? Is the pressure gauge full going to the RO? Okay, well then it is. It's not flowing on the other side. Something's closed. Something's not working. Your float, is the float bad? Is the irrigation valve bad? Has the plug fallen out? Like, I'm going to go through all these steps before alerting anyone or telling anyone, or I'm just going to do the basic, the awareness. I'm going to visualize what's going on in the system and seeing if I see where it stops. At what point is it not working? Has it stopped working? Where has it failed? You know what I mean? So I'm empowering everyone out there and suggesting that you start with these simple mind tricks, and not even tricks, but just programming yourself, to be better at what you do, be a better person, because all this does is just bring you more bounty in your life. More people are going to notice you, more opportunities, and then even if you don't know how to do something, teaching yourself how. 3 years ago, I had never done blueprints or anything for a facility or worked with an architect or knew anything about building large scale cannabis facilities and what is needed and everything. And since then, through my own pure wants and beliefs and ambitions and desire, I've taught myself more in the last 3 years than I might have learned in the 10 years prior. I know so much more. I know the answer to things. I know how airflow works, dehumidifier, AC calculations, all these things. And I've learned this from working with people, being aware, paying attention, reprogramming, downloading, all the things that I've talked about in this podcast. I've done. I'm never going to tell you anything or give you advice on anything that I don't know of or that I'm not doing, because that's not true. I can only share what I know and what I do and how I can be better and learn, and being really hands-on and holding myself accountable. I don't want to do anything half-ass. I'm done with that shit. I don't do anything half-ass. I don't do anything cheap. I'm holding myself accountable to do the best job that I can with anything I'm doing, be the best partner that I can, be the best advisor that I can, be the best facilitator, be the best and most helpful. Like, all these things are very important for me. I'm not just going on cruise control when we're working on, a room or a drawing or anything like that. Like, it's holding myself to this high standard. Like, everything I want to do, I want to be on a high standard. I put a belt around my waist and call myself the people's champion. I better fucking hold a very high standard. But all these things that I'm talking about are things you can work on with yourself and within yourself. And you can teach yourself and you can download to your hard drive. These aren't things that other people are going to give to you. People can't give you honesty. You need to either be an honest person or you're not. It's one or the other. It's not something that someone can give to you, give you the information on how to build something, so really focus on trying to be all the things that we talked about, holding yourself accountable. It's not going to be easy. Like, it's when you're getting frustrated, and to stop yourself and take a deep breath and it's a transition period. It's not easy. We've been programming, we've been doing a lot of these same things and these same reactions for a long time. So no one ever said it was going to be easy, but in the long run, you're going to come from such a better place. And when you come from that place and that's who you are and that's your purity, everything comes from a place of abundance. Like I've said, relationships, communication, problem solving, your ability to fix things, everything gets better. From one human being to another, that's my challenge. That's the Craft Farmer Challenge. I challenge you. I challenge your whole team. I challenge anyone that you care about to listen to that message, to share this podcast with them, because all this is going to do, regardless of what you do in your life, who you are, it's going to reap massive rewards. So I challenge you. Much love to all of you guys. Thank you for always tuning in. I appreciate your support. And it's just all about, spreading knowledge, mentality, helping one another, and just getting better. So let's all get better together. Cut the check.